Hey guys, it's your pal, Keith Grevenitz, back with another Beat Sessions review. This week, I'm reviewing a 2019 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, Philip Selway, and his new album titled Strange Dance. If you haven't heard of Phil, you've heard him. He's been beating the skins for Radiohead since Pablo Honey. This is his third studio solo album, and it comes as Radiohead is taking a little break. Everyone in the band is kind of doing their own thing right now. With the Beat Sessions, I'm the resident Radiohead obsessee, so I figured I'd check this out. If you missed it, I reviewed Tom York, Johnny Greenwood, and longtime Radiohead producer Nigel Godrich, their project, The Smile, last spring. Also, don't be afraid to go back in our videos, too. Mitch, Mary Beth, and I have established a large archive of music reviews. You might even call it a music enthusiast treasure trove. Go ahead and take a look. Don't be shy. I had only previously listened to several tracks from Selway, his previous solo albums, and it'd been a bit, so this was more like a fresh listen for me. Selway is 55 years old, so you can definitely expect a mature sound. His sound is a calming one, one that he had me wondering about his voice. He sings in like an airy whisper-like voice. If I can make a comparison, you could hear in your head right now, it's like when Roger Waters does his more light theatrical range when he's trying to set that mood. But Selway is pretty consistently there with his voice, and I'm just wondering if that's because his voice isn't really strong. Another thing I noticed about Selway singing is that he is a rare case of an Englishman who sounds English when he's singing. He has a strong accent, and that comes through in his vocals. Very posh and proper. Selway chose not to drum on his solo albums. His first solo album was mostly just he and his acoustic guitar, and he's progressed to some keys and some bigger sound behind him with his following two solo efforts. Strange Dance comes in at almost 47 minutes. Let's break it down track by track. The opener is called Little Things, and it's a moody piano number with some subtle strings behind Selway on the piano. The strings sneak up and become more prominent to meet the mood of the track until it explodes into clangy metallic drums and a triumphant string overload to end this one with some big energy. The next track, What Keeps You Awake at Night, starts with some xylophone and electric keys and Selway's hushed reverb strong voice. There are some interesting infusions of what sounds like a violin here too. We have some cool stops that keep this song fresh. There are a lot of elements at play here, and some of them are pulled at the right moments, to create that dynamic nuance. Like the last track, this one really gets going at the end. Selway's voice remains understated throughout. Check for Signs of Life comes in with a piano and very stylized drum beat. Selway, gently as ever, whispers in our ears, and I'm still not sure what I think about his singing. If you give this a listen, let me know what you think. It sounds good, but something inside me just wants to hear him push it a little more. A lot of similar elements here, again, in this track. Picking Up the Pieces is the fourth track. It's a bit more peppy, but definitely not rocking by any means. Having listened to this album a few times by now, I still want more from Phil's voice. The chorus in this track reminds me very much of a Tom York track on Tomorrow's Modern Boxes called Pink Section. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but if you Radiohead people are out there, let me know what you think about that, Track 5 is called The Other Side, and I'm feeling that whispery Roger Waters vibe here big time as the track opens. I'm thinking the best way to describe the voice throughout the album is that it's like a singing of a lullaby album. Selway sings in this one, nothing ever changed. He sings that. And the song formatting doesn't change that much thus far in the album. Piano with string accompaniment, a crescendo near the end. The title track, Strange Dance, features a more than traditional a more non-traditional rather, I'm sorry, drum sound and some like effects noises that tinker and tap in. This song kind of reminds me of Bjork. It's a bit off-key number. It's not my favorite track, but I'm happy to hear Selway experiment. Track 7 is called Make It Go Away, and it's a slidey acoustic track. Sounds like the guitar has very fresh strings, a nice twangy acoustic sound. Gotta love fresh strings. Not as warm, but vibrant AF. The non-traditional drums are big in this track as well. It's an offbeat type of clickety clack that is nice juxtaposed with the more obedient and behaved acoustic guitar. More strings here, and I think Selway gives us his best vocal effort. The next track, the heart of it all, comes with a piano and strings and some sweet lullaby sounds from Phil again. The piano is a little bit like Lennon's Imagined, like that type of sound. We have some wooing and whistling effects that I don't know how to describe them, but they're very pleasing. It's kind of like a talented whale is singing on the track in a lovely falsetto. If you can imagine, ooh, whale. So, Salt Air, we hear more effects on Selway's voice than previously. There's a synthy wind-up sound that's tough to describe here again. It's kind of like a more pleasant tornado alarm. Later in the track, these sounds converge and it sounds very electronic. It's pretty badass. Sonically speaking, this was one of my favorite listens on this album. Creative use of instrumentation and some great use of playing with sound. You know, he's just having a good time. The last track, There'll Be Better Days, returns to Selway's more formulaic sound. Comes in very quiet, and like many tracks before, it's the sound that comes up as Phil gets more, it's like he gets more comfortable with the song. It's like a shy guy opening up and starting to feel himself. We get the vibrant strings to end this one again. The sound that started off so subtly, again, ends full and fat. Okay, so my favorite track here is definitely Salt Air. It's a trippy sound. I like the crescendo, how it culminates into these huge, unique, chordular type sound. I don't know if that's a word. Really dug it though. It was just like a big like core electronic chord eventually. It just all comes together and sounds great. The rest of the album is good. I liked listening to it. I don't think I'd enter it into my permanent rotation of music, but I definitely didn't have a hard time listening to it. Things I consider when listening to an album straight through, particularly, are dynamics and range. And the range wasn't huge here. It doesn't have to be, though. This is just a mellow album. I think Selway is a quiet guy, and this album reflects that. So while I might not get an unquenchable craving to listen to it like Radiohead's albums that he's played on, I'd recommend it. If you want to listen to a cool, mellow album, check it out. I could go to sleep to this one for sure, I think. Not that it's boring, but it's often like a lullaby, like I've said. I hope you enjoyed my review, guys. Please like, sub, comment, and also don't forget, Tuesday nights, Mitch, MB, and I get together to talk about music, art, and culture, and some fun while we do it. So thanks for tuning into the B Sessions, guys. We appreciate you listening. So long.